One Love and Wellness, love plus art equals wellness. I have decided I will initiate this. This is the premiere episode of the fourth season of Heart Happy Hour, HHH. That's in sign language. So I decided that it is a good idea for me to do this while I'm driving because I'm talking about the super consciousness. I'm talking about going to uh, what would be perceived as beyond the autonomic responses of your body. I won't be doing the breathing exercises while I'm on the highway, but I will be sharing some superconscious insights. And I say that because when I start driving and, I am watching the road, and right now there seems to be something has happened ahead of me. There may be an accident or, uh, well, most likely that's what it is. So I'm just hoping for the best. We're moving along very slowly. I don't know if you see the slow movement of the trees on the side, but it's definitely going to give me an opportunity to use my super sensitivities and just allow myself to just drive and detach and get insights, downloads, and whatever comes, I'm going to share. And so recently, I have discovered, and it has been downloaded, a new meditation that I have been offering to my uh, coaching clients. And now I have a new group of people that I am coaching as a part of this gateway process. And so the gateway meditation, upon my I guess researching who else is doing and actually, let me take that back. The research is coming to me. It's not me seeking the research. Just like the method and the technique came to me in a sun meditation one morning, I was given the first part. Well, let me back up even before that. Yeah, my hands were off the wheel, but let me back up before that because I had a dream, and in the dream it gave me signs and symptoms and hints that something big was being birthed, and it gave me a starting point, and the starting point had to do with something that happened to me as a child. And when I say happened, I mean I learned this breathing process as a child that I start no that I actually end the meditation with. So the breathing exercise I learned when I was 9 or 10 years old, probably 10 years old. I was in seventh grade in gym class. And while I was in class, I don't remember who started it. I know it was not an adult. I know it was one of my classmates, but they instructed me and a group of others. We gym class was over on the field, and they had us to um, go around the side of the building by the side door where you come out to go into the area for gym. And the emergency vehicles are coming, so let me let them by. But yeah, we're going to so the dream was telling me about where to end it, and then so I meditated on where to start. And in about four different sessions, it came to me in caplets, in segments, and each time that I meditated on it, and it's still being perfected, it's still being elevated, it's still being fine-tuned with more and more scientific based information as well as downloads I'm getting. I mean, it is just amazing how these things are coming to me. So all right, so the dream connected me back to the childhood training, which then that was the ending point. This is, what you're going to do. You're going to use this. And then I went back and it gave me the pieces to it. So now we've perfected our process, and we have successfully had journeys from our it says I'm live. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened just now. I am new to this YouTube live thing. So, hi there, one love and wellness. Love plus art equals wellness. I'm Precious Mother Love. You are joining me for the premiere episode of the fourth season of Heart Happy Hour. So, I have recently made some discoveries, and I am trying to share them with an audience of those who are interested in super consciousness, developing their supernatural wellness, and a lot of other things that I have discovered along my journey, which, I've done astral traveling, where I've taken something with me and left it, or where I've come back with something that I was able to collect while I was in the super consciousness. Yes, I was able to astral travel and what do you call that? Transport things with me, objects, material, um, inanimate objects. But I mean, everything has a frequency and everything is per se alive. But these were things that, would not perish. They were not perishable, so things like that. So, in any case, what we did do with our though the discoveries that I have made over the years, I am sharing with you guys. I'm driving, I'm on the highway because I wanted to get rid of the autonomic responses so that I could just be coming straight to you from what's off of my fresh meat, fresh milk, fresh downloads. So today, being my premiere episode, I just want to give you some brief introduction to where we are this season. This season, we left off last season where we were talking to we were talking about or to the subjects that related to the superconsciousness, to aliens, to walking through walls and multiple dimensions, to things that happen in your dreams and sleep. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of debris in the highway, and I need to be very careful with crossing these things because I need my tires to last me for a while. All right, thank you, sir, for letting me get over. All right, so maybe we'll have a better opportunity to talk more as my speed picks up, and I will be as safe about this as possible. But, so last season we left off with topping our act. We are going to be more in depth about the discoveries that I have encountered and experienced in my life in the astral plane, the astral travel, in my supernatural wellness, in the super consciousness, being able to be in touch with the other side. And like I said, I have done things where I have transported material objects with me back and forth. So let me start with a story about myself when I met Yogananda Paramahansa. And that was the first time that I was able to transport something from my dream that he actually gave me in my dream. So Yogananda Paramahansa, in my dream, he was, or in this astral dream, astral projection, he was a younger man than what he was projected to be from the autobiography of his that I read, the photographs of him as he became a senior or elder. Those are the photos that I had seen of him. I had not seen a photo of him as a younger man. Now, I went back and researched after our opportunity of this, gathering of he and I getting together, and I was able to see that, oh, that's who that was, because I knew who he was, but I had not known who he was, um, to know visually that that was him. So in my spirit, I knew who he was, but in my physical person, I had not seen that. So what happened is, so in my dream, he took me to a temple. The temple was on this hill, and I had to perform certain things, certain tasks after each of my lessons. He gave me 3 lessons. And after the first lesson, he had tasked me to elevate me to the next level, and then to the next level, and then finally to the third level, which is where the temple was. And so when I got into the temple, he gifted me a tricolored necklace, a necklace that had a charm on it that had I'm assuming that it's the 3 colors, the 3 metals that was spoken to in his book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. And so the necklace that he gifted me matched those metals in my, because I had to go back to the book, because I had read the book 2 or 3 times, but I hadn't committed the whole thing to memory. But I likened myself to almost every individual that he had discussed and spoken about in what they were capable of doing. From everything from healings to speaking to the animals to forecasting things to astral traveling and astral plane. So there were, I don't know, maybe about, well, too many for me to try to name a number at this point of how many individuals that he spoke to that had these different, I want to say powers, but I don't want to say powers, but he actually was observing them do these things, and I had observed myself doing these things. So in any case, that was the first time that I was able to receive uh, a token or something and take it back with me. Now, the first time that I actually took something with me to the superconscious realm or to the etheric was when I was 5 years old. So now, when I was 5 years old, I was able to, at that point, I was walking through walls. I had seen other dimensions. And my 5-year-old mind told me that if I wanted to prove myself, that I should take something with me and leave it. And if I leave it and come back with nothing, then I knew I had been somewhere. So that's what I did. I had a packet of bow ribbons that my mother had given me, or that my mother had recently bought. I got in trouble for it being missing, but I did take it with me. And I, did all the things that I normally do while I was there, which was I was visiting other people. There were people that were teaching me things. They were showing me things. And so I had my visit, and I decided, okay, it's time to go. And I left the packet there, and then I came back and I didn't have that with me. Now, what I had done is, as a child, I didn't know this then, but I had so I just had a text message come up, and I'm going to reply to that shortly. But I had decided that, I didn't know exactly what it was, but later I found that it was a portal that I had discovered. And so I have later gone back to where that portal was, and I do have a sense of that it is still there energetically. I just don't have access to the exact area where it was, and maybe later I'll do that. But it reminded me of things that had happened to me later, which later before the Matrix movie came out, I was experiencing something of receiving phone calls, and when I got the phone call, my body would stay still and stiff and in a stare as I physically was there, but I had left my vessel where it was parked, and I would return back to that parked vessel, meaning my physical, when I had finished the travel. But I wasn't the person triggering it. It was the person on the other end of the phone. And so I had several of those episodes where I was given a call and I would be stuck in my stare, and only time I would remember anything is when I was hanging up the phone and I was putting the phone down on the receiver, and I could not remember anything between the pickup and the hang up. And so I told a friend of mine whom we were, you know, we were into the same stuff, but he was at a higher level than that. So I would like to say that, he was at a higher practice level than I was at the time. He was teaching me a lot of things. He was also my ninja, my teacher. I was going to say my ninja teacher. He was my sensei, and he had his own um, martial art style called Fudoken. Fudoken, I believe is how you spell it. And so, as my teacher, my sensei, and one of my colleagues in the process of learning more and more about the subconscious. I mean, he was dropping jewels and things all the time, and I wasn't as fertile of ground as I am now. At that time, I was into church. I was into being in the presence of religious buildings and considering them a catalyst for getting me launched into the deep. Whereas I found out later that it was not a group project, it was a solo effort. And that I needed to be able to launch into the deep individually in my own way. And that happened many times in many ways. And I'll discuss that later. But at this point, I was talking about the picking up and putting down of the phone and what was happening in between that time. And so I had shared it with my sensei, and I shared it to tell him, hey, if you ever see me stuck on stupid with my headlights, staring into the deep, if you see me on the phone and I'm doing this, come get me out of there, to pull me out of whatever very emphatic. I was like, handle. And he did. He saw it. He came in. I actually remember seeing him with my physical eyes. And so I saw him come in, and I wasn't able to move. I wasn't able to do anything. I guess I was kind of in, quasi both places. So he immediately took the phone from me and then said what he needed to say to the other end. And it has not happened since then. And so, because I know who was doing it, because what would happen is the person would impersonate other people and say, I'm this person that's important in your life, and take the phone call. And it wasn't them. And somehow my secretary wasn't able to identify the fallacy at that point. She had she was easily um, deceived, and I'd get each one of those phone calls, and I'd say it probably happened about 10 times. And so, and I don't exactly know what they wanted me for, what they wanted to do with me, but I do know that I was told by this was a evangelist. Is that what you call them? This was Todd Hall. I don't know if you remember him, but Todd shared that it was a that I had he's a prophet. That's what it was, Prophet Todd Hall. He had prophesied some things to me about my future, and I will say it was confirmed by another being that I encountered, and his name was Mr. Charlie. So I spoke about Mr. Charlie in the second and the third season. So I may refresh some of that later. But right now, Mr. Charlie, in a nutshell, he was a being from another dimension. We had Harry Potter experiences together. He had open portals where we had gone through into other dimensions together. And he too told me, matter of fact, he said that he was sent here to deter me from my path. And it was ineffective. It did not thwart, it may have delayed, but it did not thwart my effort. And I say that because of the downloads that I've recently begun to receive related to gateway, which I later found out there is a project. Recently, there was a new page that was released. I think they said page 25 of this report about the CIA's research, and they did astral travel under what they called the gateway. And I don't know if they call it meditation. I can't remember what the last word or the word right behind gateway is, but they actually do a lot of the same. Some of the parts of our technique has some of the same techniques that they're using, and this isn't a technique that I made up by myself. This is a technique that the spirit downloaded for me. The spirit said, this, here, this, get this and do that and have this and do that. Similar to when I first started my jewelry business. I was in bed, and at like 4 o'clock and 3:30 or so in the morning, the spirit woke me up and said, go to the closet. So I went to the closet. It gave me step by step by step. It did not give me a long, drawn out anything. And I'm glad for that, because then I could follow the instructions. And I continue to follow the instructions in this way. But it said, go to the closet, pull out this box, sit on the couch, pick up this book, look through the book. And then finally it said stop when I got to the right page. And then it said, you can do this. And so I did. And it was to fashion jewelry. So the box that it had me to pull out had remnants of my grandmother, my great grandmother, my mother, and myself, jewelry that we had pieces of, or some pieces that were antique from the family that were broken or that needed repair. And to be very honest, how I started making jewelry, because I started just for myself, but my jewelry business started until much later. But what happened is I used to repair my grandmother's jewelry. She gave me her jewelry and a tool, and she just give it to me and say, here, fix this. And I didn't have any training, but she knew I was good with my hands, and she taught me how to sew. She taught me numerous different um, things to do with my hands, including cooking. But I learned from family members needlepoint, crochet, knitting, so on and so on. So, but anyway, grandma was like, give me a tool. She would give me a tool. She would give me the piece of jewelry, and she'd say, fix it. And I'd fix it. And I'd be so proud of myself. And I'm like, here, grandma, you know. And it was so sweet that it became something, that was relevant, not only from my learning as a child, but what I was able to do. Because later I kept making jewelry for myself. It kept putting pieces together of the broken jewelry together. But I was just wearing it for myself. It wasn't like I was intending to sell it. Eventually, people started buying pieces off of me. Just yesterday, I had uh, a few pieces that were on, and people. This is a similar piece to the piece that sold yesterday. I just made these today so I could put them on, because these are popular pieces, and when people see me with them on, where you get that? Oh, and then sometimes because I'm have so much on it, they're like, you make that stuff, and do you sell it? And so I will sell what I'm wearing. Oftentimes, a lot of times, the earrings that I'm wearing will sell as well. So anyway, the full cycle, full circle. So I, throughout various times in my life, have been exposed to supernatural things. And so I do things like sun gazing or sun meditations. And I had learned a technique about 2 years ago, or now 3 years ago, 2020, because this is 2023. So in 2020, I had learned a technique that included sun gazing. And it was a catalyst for me getting a lot of fresh downloads from that, beginning that meditation. I mean, I would gaze at the sun at sunrise um, every day, or every day that it was sunny. Even on non-sunny days, I had recorded it, so I would go back and be able to look at the recording and get into connect with the sun. And I actually feel like the sun is an antenna that amplifies or a magnifier or something that draws the energy from my gaze. Even though I'm drawing energy, I think there's a reciprocal cycle, because as I'm drawing energy, it's sending me data, it's sending me energy, and I believe that it's traveling. So, that's my thought. That's how I feel. Maybe if I learn something later, some scientific basis or foundation may have me to think otherwise. But right now, since I've begun the gazing part of it a couple of years ago, now it has begun to um, increase the amount of clarity and the amount of energy or data that I'm able to receive and interpret. So I'm going to keep this short. We're at 20 minutes on Love and Wellness. Love plus art equals wellness. In a nutshell, I did discover my 5 words for supernatural wellness from a sun gaze on a beach at the ocean. And so my 5 words of wellness are hydrate, which is in many, many, many forms, not just drinking water, because we only get, I guess, about 20% of our hydration from water. It may be fruits. It may be what you absorb through your skin when you take a shower. It may be, you taking a soak or soaking your feet, eating fruits or drinking juices. There are numerous other ways. Coconut water is also a good way for you to hydrate. But anyway, let's move past that and get to the second word. The second word is cleanse. And so once you have lubricated or hydrated or wet things, you can then begin the flow, which sometimes you may, just like how when you wash your hands, but you may also do a foot detox, or you may also do a steam, or you may also do some sort of tea or ingest certain products or certain plants that will detox your body. There are numerous things. I do an ionic cleanse. When you go to the beach, it is also something that cleanses the tangents of your mind, right? So the third word is tune in. You have cleansed, then you're going to be able to have clearer highways and byways, clearer ways for the flow to go. And so you will have clearer thoughts, you'll have clearer downloads, clearer, uh, better response from your body, clearer to cleanse your body that way. So, it won't have as much odor. There's all kinds of things that you can eat that can help clean your digestive tract, but then also that helps you to absorb better energy. So hydrate, cleanse, and tune in. So now that you're able to really, really tune in, at this point, when you're getting downloads, so tuning in is you receiving information in. Your cleansing part. You're also in that cleansing part, you're going to decide, things that are no longer in your diet, gossip. There may be certain people that you want to detox out of your life or defunk from, to no longer be connected so closely to. There may be a new way of thinking that you want, so you're cleaning out some of the clutter in your thoughts and your brain. You no longer want to include certain words or certain vibrations or certain energies. Perhaps you want new ways of doing things. So now when you're tuning into those things now. Those are the things now that you're going to be more focused on, the things that you want in your life, the things that you are accepting and allowing and becoming more one with. So the tuning in, you're things, but then you're also tuning out the outer, meaning the to the ethereal, to what's happening in the universe, what's happening outside of this vessel. So there's a two-way street that's going on of what's coming in and what's going out, and so we are. that's kind of a momentum that has begun and that starts. So hydrate, cleanse, tune in, tune out, and then, like I said, now that you've got this momentum, that's the final word. The final word is flow. So now you're able to flow better, you're able to go better, you're able to know better, you're able to live better. And I have not gone and scratched the surface at all in my 5 words of supernatural wellness. I actually have written a book, and it is now been turned into a course and workshop. So I would like to say, join us for the new moon and the full moon when we do our gateway meditation each month. I will be posting the flyers all over the place, and most likely I will create the or put the Eventbrite list link at the bottom of the information. So everyone that is interested can click on the link and join us. On the full moon is when we do the meditation. On the new moon, we will be doing the integration. So twice a month, we meet for those 2 times. And those who are alumni and have done it before can join us at any of the intervention points, integration points. So if you are an alumni of any of my previous Gateway meditation, you are invited to come in and share what you've learned, what the best, what you have gotten out of it, and anything that shows up and shows out in signs and symbols, we like you to share. So that is one thing that's happening every month, but also we will be doing a Gateway meditation retreat and the workshop. And as I said, the workshop will include the 5 words for supernatural wellness. What is it that gets you to the point of having a lifestyle of this very, of being able to live at the gateway or live where you're able to function with multiple dimension attentiveness, where you're able to balance them in such a way that, like me, I'm able to drive, I'm able to do many things in an autonomic sort of way. And it will, this gateway meditation gets you there. The supernatural wellness is what keeps you there. And so, One Love and Wellness, Love plus Art equals wellness. That's today's episode. I usually play all kinds of music. I did not play any music to the intro or for the outro, but the second episode will definitely be that so that I will be prepared. This is impromptu. I just decided today is the day. This is the beginning of spring, Aries, Sun, Aries, Moon. They are just prompting me with that fire cardinal energy that it is time to start, it's time to go. The bullseye has been hit for the first episode to be conducted. Please come back and join us for the next episode of Love plus Art equals Wellness Heart Happy Hour. Our precious mother love, thanks for joining me. Come back soon, and we look forward. Ashe, Ashe. How do I get out of here? How do I stop this? Don't know yet. I'm learning. Not exactly sure, but we are getting out of here. Love is art as well. Here we go.